welcome to Coach's Decision, a weekly talk show where we discuss sports from the Bay Area and beyond. My name is Thomas Todd. I'm joined here in studio. He's got advertisements on his chest. You know this is radio, right? We don't make any money off that.
Sorry, Thomas. I've been watching too much soccer recently. I'm just really getting into the mood, you know?
Getting into the mood? Is it like a sexual experience for you?
Sometimes. That's neither here nor there.
What are some of the more like egregiously sexual soccer terms?
Oh, the overlap.
The overlap?
The overlap that could easily be construed.
That's just when dating goes wrong. When, you know, you're kind of single, but you meet a girl, and then you meet another girl, and you're like not sure about either one. It's the overlap.
But you pass the ball to her on the overlap? That's the question.
You got to make runs, right?
That's you got to make runs.
You got to make runs, just not in your shorts.
Oof.
Okay. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. Peyton Manning, whether or not he or his wife are using HGH.
Por qué no los dos?
Yeah, por qué no los dos. Boogie's ejections, Russell Westbrook's lack of technical fouls, and the Panthers losing their first game of the season. Cam loves the kids, but at 14-1, they're clearly going to get the first pick in the NFL draft.
Well, they did lose after the Warriors.
That's
true.
Which was
an argument Cam and his good buddy Steph had.
Buddy.
Steph was saying that the Panthers were going to lose second. The Warriors would lose first.
I want to see them playing like chicken in a pool, like Cam Newton's the bottom and Steph Curry is like the feisty top against like another skinny big city duo.
How tall is Cam Newton?
6'5".
Steph's 6'3".
I know.
Everyone thinks of him as a small little dude.
But he's twiggy. Cam's like 260.
Okay, Steph's probably like, 185?
Yeah, did you see that run Cam Newton had against Atlanta? Oh, my goodness. I said that was the single best run I've ever seen of 7 yards. Barry Sanders.
Fair.
I can't think of another 7-yard run that was more exciting or impressive.
I'm sure Michael Vick had something of that nature, but no one cared because the Falcons were terrible.
And at the end, he electrocuted a dog, so it's like, it's no good. I've wiped a lot of those memories.
He's just a really big fan of the movie Snatch.
Oh, gosh. That movie. Oh, that movie's horrific. They like soccer in that movie.
They do.
Let's go ahead and start with basketball because that's your thing, and that's what I did over the holiday break. I watched a lot of basketball.
Did you watch every Christmas Day game?
I watched a part of every game. I don't think I watched any Clippers-Lakers because I don't care.
I watched none of Clippers-Lakers.
I don't watch sports events where you don't know who the home team is. Jets, Giants, Clippers-Lakers. I just don't do it.
You're not into it?
It's too confusing.
Okay.
I feel bad for the home team.
It used to be that you would always feel bad for the Clippers in LA.
Yeah, there's that brief Darius Miles, Q Rich, Corey Maggette team. Yeah, we're both tapping our foreheads real nice.
Oh, there was also the Sam Cassell, Elton Brand team.
Well, now I'm doing something else because of Sam Cassell's gesture that he got banned from doing.
Are you just trying to look like E.T. the extraterrestrial? Is that are you doing a Sam Cassell impression?
Extraterrestrial-sized things in my shorts, but let's not go there.
Mm-hmm.
What impressed you? Because I know the Warriors beat the Cavs. That was impressive. What else impressed you? You weren't impressed by that?
Both teams played hard, but neither team played well, my man.
See, here's what I liked about the game. It was the fact that the Cavs played their tempo, played their game, did almost everything right according to their game plan, at least stylistically, and lost the game.
Yes, and they took Kyrie Irving out when he reached his minutes limit, and they were making a push at the end until LeBron missed 2 clutch free throws.
That was awesome. I was watching the game with people who watch, slightly less basketball, and they're like, "Is he supposed to do that?" It's like, no, you're not supposed to do that.
He's actually now shooting the worst of any player for long range shots. He's only shooting 28.5% from outside of 15 feet.
So what I've noticed,
worse than Kobe.
Right, that's interesting. So what I have noticed is that even just watching that game, you can take out a couple of spots where he's firing off deep shots off balance.
He's firing, and he went to the step back against Steph Curry off a switch.
He's 0 for 8 when Curry's guarding him.
Because he just goes to the step back? I don't know why he would. And Iguodala, the only reason Iguodala is having success, well, not the only reason, but one of the major reasons Iguodala is having success when guarding LeBron is that he plays so far off of him and dares him to shoot. LeBron's going to drive to the basket, no matter how close to him you are at this point in his career, because he's not making his outside shot. And if you're up close on him, he's going to blow by you. But if you're farther behind, you can make him make contact with your chest and try to make a difficult shot versus just getting right to the rim.
Right, and Andre Iguodala is not a better shooter than LeBron James, but you look at the numbers and it looks like he is. It's that Iggy gets so many set wide open shots. LeBron almost never gets those because who's going to create those for him? Kyrie hasn't been there to do that.
He's back now, though. Also, you could see that the Warriors weren't scared of Cleveland when they went to their Kevin Love at center lineup.
No, not at all. Why
Not
would
at
they
all.
be? Draymond's just like, nom.
Exactly. Yeah, the death lineup, but the nerfed death lineup with Livingston instead of Barnes was still very successful for the Dubs.
Why are they letting Livingston shoot threes?
Corner threes only.
Okay, but why bother? Just let him do his post game.
Well, he needs to, if he's going to be on the floor with that group of players, he needs to be in the corner to create the spacing. Because he would prefer to be maybe 18 to 15 feet away on the baseline, because that's a jumper he likes to make, and it allows him to cut to the rim. But it just clogs up the lane, and it doesn't make the high screen and roll as effective and as dangerous.
Yeah, I guess that's why he's the one not in the group of death normally.
Yeah, because if Barnes is in that corner, Barnes shoots like 48% from the corner.
Ooh. I get chills when I think about the NBA Finals and Barnes and Iggy just launching in the corner.
I get chills when I think about the Warriors actually being healthy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we were recording this Wednesday night and doing this live Wednesday night. You've seen the Warriors lose to the Dallas Mavericks without Curry, Barbosa, Barnes, and Festus Ezeli. You said that, that's 4 of the top 9.
Yeah.
And Curry's not going to go tomorrow. They could be 29-3.
Yeah, Curry might go tomorrow, but I kind of doubt it.
I don't see why he would. There's no reason to push it. They've got another game this weekend, so
yeah,
no reason to try and push it there. Okay, the Warriors did play the Sacramento Kings the other day, and the Kings were playing really well, as they do against the Warriors sometimes. But something usually goes wrong. Last year it was Klay Thompson scoring 37 points in a quarter, which is as wrong as a game can go.
This year it was Steph Curry scoring 17 points in 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
But even then, the Kings still had the lead at the break. But in the third quarter, Boogie gets assessed his fifth foul, is hilariously pissed at the referees. Incensed, that's a good word. And gets 2 techs in the same breath and ejected from the game, and the Kings go on to lose big.
Yes.
Boogie needs to calm down, right?
Sure.
And Russell Westbrook can have a little chat with him, because Westbrook did an interview with ESPN's Royce Young this week and talked about how he has made an effort to get fewer technicals.
Yeah, maturation process.
He got 17 techs last year. That actually led the NBA, which is weird in an NBA with Boogie in it. Put a little Boogie in it.
Well, I feel like last year, I mean, Russ can say a lot of it was unnecessary, and yes, it was, but he had to sort of push a little harder once KD was out and Ibaka was out for most of the year, and so much was on his shoulders. He was really wrapped up in the moment.
But does pushing that further with the referees ever help you? Do you think you ever get makeup calls?
It's not that pushing further with the referees helps you, but playing with an edge and playing emotionally will prompt you to then push things further with the refs.
But can you keep the emotion between the whistles, or does it have to spill over?
You can keep it between the whistles, and that's what he's saying he's going to do this year, which I applaud him for.
Yeah, he said something to the effect of, well, I did all the whining and moaning I did, and not one call got changed. He's like, I went back and watched the tape. They didn't change one call. I think it was a little tongue-in-cheek.
I think that's a great take.
It was a good take.
He's famous for scoffing at reporters when they have ridiculous questions. He has a great sense of humor, especially in interviews. So
is he the next Greg Popovich?
No one's the next Pop.
He needs to hone his game a little bit. Let's do a couple more basketball stories before we get to Peyton Manning.
Wait, one thing I wanted to throw out there while we're still on the topic of Russell Westbrook, I heard a great tidbit recently where Kobe, when he realized how great Durant was as a scorer, when he was working out with Russ in the offseason, he was talking to Russ about how Russ should take on more of the scoring burden and how he should be the number one option.
Right, to try to piss each other, pit them against each other.
Yes, exactly. I think it's amazing. The Mamba always working.
Was there somebody who told that to Kobe when he was younger? Like, oh yeah, that Shaq guy's starting to wear down.
Kobe told that to Kobe when he...
Joe Jellybean Bryant was like, hey, Kobe,
according to Phil Jackson, managing Kobe's ego is always the crux of the issue.
Really? Not Shaq's?
No, because it's also just that Kobe really wanted to be the man, right? And also he wanted everyone to approach the game the way he did, which Shaq clearly didn't.
Aloe Black Mamba? You can tell everybody I'm the man. Feed the big man. A couple more stories. We mentioned the Phoenix Suns are what was the term?
Dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire. We usually reserve that for the Houston Texans, but now they're going to make the playoffs, so we need a new dumpster fire.
And they're still a dumpster fire. They're still so bad. I can't with the AFC South.
You can't even.
I can't. I literally can't even. I'm over here literally not able to even.
You're going to write a book called How to Even for those who literally can't.
Well, and it'll be the story of the 2015 Houston Texans.
It'll just be the AFC South as a whole since 2002. 13 years of disgrace.
One man's guide to attempting to even with the AFC South.
It's just a picture of Andrew Luck and J.J. Watt looking confused on the cover.
It's a picture of Matt Hasselbeck on his back on the ground with the biggest grimace you've ever seen.
He is getting destroyed out there.
Do they have hospice care there for him, or like how does this work?
It's like that sequence in The Replacements where Shane Falco is just getting obliterated.
Oh yes, that like one sequence in The Replacements that everyone has perfect recall memory for, Thomas. We've all seen The Replacement tons of times.
I've seen it like 50 times.
Everyone loves Gene Hackman and Keanu movies, just like you.
What? Okay, first of all, Gene Hackman is genius in that movie.
He is.
Keanu Reeves, whatever. He's just kind of there, pretty boy quarterback.
That's the Keanu's sports movie era, right? He did that, and he did Hardball.
I never saw Hardball.
I saw Hardball in the theater, and let me tell you, don't do that.
Yeah,
Pro tip, if they re-release it into theaters, don't go see Hardball.
I just ordered the Criterion.
How did it make Criterion? And that's what the Gene Hackman gruff leader era, where he also did Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson.
That's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
With Will Smith.
No, that's Enemy of the State.
Oh, sorry, Enemy of the State. Behind the Enemy of the State's lines.
No, Enemy of the State is a Tony Scott movie with Will Smith and Gene Hackman. Okay. Not to be confused with Behind Enemy Lines, where Owen Wilson plays a fighter pilot.
Okay, way different.
Way different.
Okay. Man, that was confusing.
Okay.
I'm still stuck on Aloe Black Mamba.
I'm still stuck on you thinking everyone's going to have perfect recall to a moment in The Replacements.
Well, it's the part of the movie where he's just getting completely destroyed by the defenders, but it's in a movie sort of way where quarterbacks don't really fall or like it looks like they explode. You know, it's just the unreal tackling sequences. But that's what's happening to Matt Hasselbeck. He's just falling apart.
It's like the scene in Any Given Sunday when Jamie Foxx tries to hurdle into the end zone and gets hit both in the legs and in the torso and spins around above the ground.
Or Jerry Maguire, Rod Tidwell.
Exactly.
But that really happens. So yeah, let's actually talk about the Suns and not our favorite movies from the late 90s.
All right.
My mom still calls him Keanu, by the way. If you're listening, Mom, it's Keanu, not Keanu. Nobody ever named Keanu. So they didn't fire Jeff Hornacek. They kind of cleared out the assistant coaching staff. And they're going to keep him.
Would you say they lit a fire under Jeff Hornacek?
They lit a ball of fire, also known as the sun. A great ball of fire.
And they've also asked forward Markieff Morris to apologize to the team as part of his return after his suspension, after his team enforced suspension.
There was hashtag free Chief Keef. I'm on hashtag free Markieff.
Okay.
We need to get him to Detroit or somewhere close to Detroit because he
just somewhere close to his bro.
They have such a Wonder Twins thing going on. They get in trouble together. They succeed on the court together.
Hey, Marcus is succeeding more than Markieff, and no one thought that going into the year.
Well, I think it's because he's happy. I think Markieff feels like abandoned, or I think it was, you talked about this on the show before, where he was sort of promised a contract. Or he signed a contract with the intent that his brother would get to stay as well.
Yeah, and he and his brother were allowed to split an amount of money between them however they saw fit in their two contracts, even though Markieff is so much better and would have gotten a bigger contract in the first place.
That's strange. We should do that for this show. We'd argue forever.
Forever and ever.
Tory, you still get nothing.
And also now Eric Bledsoe's out.
It's over, man. They used to have 4-point guards. How many they got now?
They got Brandon Knight, who, is he really a point guard? A shoot first point guard?
Is he that great of a shooter?
No. Although the Bucks have been noticeably worse since they traded him last year.
That's a good point.
They were a playoff team. They amassed a good enough record to continue to be a playoff team despite having a losing record after trading him last year. And then a losing record again this year.
They decided Michael Carter-Williams was a better option than Brandon Knight, which that's just wrong.
Well, they decided to invest in perimeter defense instead of interior defense, even though everything that advanced stats has ever taught us about the NBA is that rim protection matters, and that a perimeter defense does not matter if you can't protect the rim.
That's a good point. Yeah, defense goes from the outside or from the inside out, not from the outside in.
And so they had a defense that was built around Zaza Pachulia and also having a ton of second unit guys who could defend. And then they get rid of Zaza. They bring in Greg Monroe. They have to now start Jabari Parker at the 4, who's not a defender.
Terrible.
And
defender.
then so they're like, we're going to build this all around length on the perimeter with Giannis and Middleton and Carter Williams, and it's just not working for them. I don't. Why are we talking about the Bucks? I'm sorry, Thomas.
It's okay. They beat the Warriors, and they almost beat them again. So they kind of deserve to be talked about a little bit.
I heard a great thought process about how the Bucks play defense, about how they treat every high screen and roll as though the ball handler is Steph Curry, and it's the end of the world, and you have to trap him, and you have to force the ball out of his hand. But against other teams, that's not the case, and you're just giving up 4-on-3s all the time. So but against the Warriors, it is the case. That is the optimal strategy.
And it works.
And it works a little. It worked a little better.
Is that just a Jason Kidd quirk? Is that something he sees in his roster, or?
I think they're trying to force turnovers with their length, and they figure trapping ball handlers and having guys like Giannis and Middleton will just disrupt passing lanes. And it worked against the Warriors, who want to zip that ball around.
How tall is Giannis again?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's
growing.
He's still growing. He could be 7'2" by now. Who knows?
My goodness. And what position is he supposed to play? I've watched every game he's played against the Warriors. I never know what position he is.
They list him as small forward.
Okay. He could be anything.
He plays 2 through 4 right now.
Him and the Latvian gangster. I don't know what position they play.
They would be great side by side, just all limb, no torso.
They could play goalie. That'd be fun.
All limb team.
Okay, we're going to push back the Peyton Manning chat, and we're going to go to our first sponsor break because we've got Daniel Zarchi on the phone. We're going to talk a little bit of baseball in a second before we get into our NFL picks. Our first sponsor break, of course, brought to you by 99 Bottles downtown in Santa Cruz on Walnut between Cedar and Pacific. A great place to go for dinner. Perfect place for lunch. They always have sports on the TV. They have a million drafts, lots of bottles, any beer you could ever imagine. They have a version of that or a better version of the one you're thinking of. Great staff down there. My buddy Luke bartends and manages down there. A lot of cool people. Trivia night on Wednesdays with Marisa. Always love, always thanks to 99 Bottles. Once again, that's downtown on Walnut between Cedar and Pacific. You can't miss it. Bring your friends, bring your dog, bring your family. It's a great atmosphere and a great location. So now we're going to have to bring on Daniel Zarchi because we need to talk just a little bit of baseball before we get to anything more pressing. Danny, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. So Danny's my college buddy. We're Giants fans. You're not ashamed of it. We have a Giants podcast. If you want to listen to it, it's called Giants Pod. You can find it on iTunes. We actually have a fairly recent episode. What was it called, Danny?
The Giants Jump the Shark or Jumping the Shark?
Something about Jumping the Shark. We talked about Jeff Samardzija, Johnny Cueto. We've covered all those topics on this show, but we go more in depth on that show. So please subscribe to that. Also subscribe to Coach's Decision on iTunes. Both would be very appreciated.
It's a good show, especially the baseball talk.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. We have just a couple things. The Aroldis Chapman deal, he was initially going to be traded from the Reds to the Dodgers. That fell through after the domestic violence investigation surrounding him. Then the Reds got a trade with the Yankees going for 4 prospects of theirs. What, do you think the Yankees were able to pay less because of the domestic violence charge, or do you think this was a fair deal?
Oh, I think they definitely paid less. I mean, the Yankees, they gave away 4 prospects, but none of them are particularly well regarded in terms of being prospects. Keith Law says that there's one who will probably could pitch in the bullpen now. There's one who might be like a 4th starter. There's one who can hit for a little power but not play defense very well. And I mean, they're all kind of middling prospects. And I think what they said is that some of them ranked like 8th and 9th in the Reds farm system. So, it's like they got a little bit of depth, but they've been talking about something much, much stronger. And during the trade deadline, the Reds had reportedly asked for a package of Aaron Judge and Luis Severino or another pitcher of his caliber.
Or much more highly regarded.
Much more highly regarded and, battle tested and had some success at the majors. So, they gave up kind of shells of those players. And it really just looked like the Reds wanted to get rid of him, which,
Well, they're just unloading. They're just unloading talent because they have to start over. They have to restock the farm, grab a bunch of lottery tickets, and go from there and see what they have.
Well, they want to restock the farm and they want to get rid of this PR nightmare.
Well, yeah, they don't need any bad attention right now. They'd like to just toil in obscurity for a year or two. Well, let's talk about the Yankees because the back end of that bullpen, Dellin Betances, Andrew Miller, and Aroldis Chapman. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good. And, of course, the article in MLB Trade Rumors talks about how they are, compared favorably to the Royals.
The
who, of
Yankees
course, had
copying the Royals. What a world we live in.
Yeah. So, the Royals had that excellent bullpen of Kelvin Herrera, Wade Davis, and what's his name? Holland.
Holland, yeah.
Now Holland's gone, but Wade Davis is presumably their closer. We're not really sure.
They're champions. They don't care.
Right, but Ryan Madsen slotted in and was amazing. And they've been really good at finding kind of low cost but elite relief pitching talent. And it really seems this offseason that elite relief pitching is something that teams are really paying up for. And the interesting trend that goes along with that is you see a lot of kind of rebuilding teams that you don't expect need a closer or like an eighth inning setup man, but they're paying these guys massive deals because they know that they can trade them at the deadline and get prospects.
Right, that's a really good point. We've noticed, every playoffs, there's teams that can't get out of the seventh inning, can't get out of the eighth inning, but you've seen a team like the Royals make and win a World Series with this 7-8-9 strategy, and then you just get, competent to pretty good starting pitching to get you through 6 innings. The Yankees haven't made the World Series in quite some time. How close do you think they are?
I mean, a bullpen certainly helps, but it's not going to get you there on its own because who's going to pitch the first 5 or 6 innings of the game? Their rotation. He probably could, but their rotation's pretty shaky. I mean, Severino is probably their best pitcher. I mean, at this point, Sabathia is a shell of his former self, and
they have a thing called Ivan Nova, who is a roller coaster.
Maybe Sabathia is actually in a shell. Like he's built a Sabathia shell around his former self.
Well, and just to bring down the party a little bit, he is in rehab, so we don't know how that's going, or if he's even going to play professional baseball ever again. So, but Tanaka came over and was fantastic, and then kind of got hurt, and he never had Tommy John. He's just kind of he rehabbed, and then he pitched, but he wasn't nearly as good, and there's no way to know. And Michael Pineda, who knows, Evaldi has not developed. I mean, so the rotation has upside, but it's really shaky. So they could still end up with a below-average pitching staff, despite having possibly the best bullpen in the games that they're winning. Next year. Plus, who knows what's going to happen with their offense.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Ellsbury's a question mark. Who knows how long A-Rod can keep hitting home runs to stay at least mildly valuable.
Well, and A-Rod was quietly awful at the end of the season.
Well, he's an old man. He should take a long break in the middle of the season. He's very old.
Yeah.
One more thing we have to talk about. I screamed on this show about the Dodgers' awful offseason, and they made a pick or a signing that doesn't really move my needle. Scott Kazmir, 3 years, $48 million. He has an opt-out after 1 year, and he's left-handed like every other member of their starting rotation. Do I have to start yelling again?
Well, the Dodgers, I mean, it's kind of quietly a good signing. This is kind of the off-season of the opt-out clause, which is weird, but Scott Kazmir managed to do the unthinkable where he actually got more money than we were expecting, plus an opt-out clause, because they've kind of been the opposite when it comes to Jason Hayward and Johnny Cueto and guys like that.
Well, I think what hurt him was the fact that he was out of the big leagues 2 years ago, or 3 years ago.
Well, I mean, Scott Kazmir is making pretty good money, though. He's got an average value of $16 million per year for 3 years. Like you said, he can opt out. And what's really weird is that the Dodgers are deferring his contract, so they're going to be paying him over 6 years instead of over 3. Which, why? Why would a financial powerhouse like L.A. Pull a Bobby Bonilla here and pay him and defer the payments? That just doesn't make any sense.
So are the payments still deferred even if he opts out?
The payments, well, if he opts out, then they're going to pay him next year half of his salary for the 1 year he's there. So it wouldn't affect him getting paid.
Okay.
As far as I understand it. But what's really interesting, like you said, is that they might have an all-lefty rotation, which, I don't remember the last time that happened.
Well, they're making a bunch of jokes about it. You know, Kershaw and McCarthy and Brett Anderson are all making jokes about it on online, but you can't really do that. You can't throw 5 lefties out. You're going to run into a team that's just going to annihilate you.
Well, that's what you'd think, wouldn't, isn't it? I mean, we don't know.
Paul Goldschmidt is going to annihilate your team.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Goldschmidt annihilates righties as long as they're named Tim Lincecum, too. So, you know, it's, do you just want the best pitcher? Do you want to actually go for a mix of lefty-righty? I mean, it's all about kind of strategy, but Zach Kessner's good, and, you know, and he's definitely helping that rotation. So, especially after they didn't get Greinke and the Iwakuma signing fell through because he felt physical and things like that. So I would say this is a good signing for LA. Some of it doesn't really make any sense, and like you said, there are question marks about strategy just in terms of a lefty-righty mix. And actually, the last time I remember this happening was when the A's did it in like the mid-2000s, because it was like Zito, Blanton, you know, some of those random guys.
I was going to say, good luck. I was really waiting with bated breath for you to come up with the other 3 names.
Rich Harden.
There you go.
So yeah, I'll come up with it by the end of the show.
I always get Dan Herron and Rich Harden mixed up. I can never keep those two
Dan
straight.
Herron, he was there.
Oh, they were both on there? The Herron-Harden combo? That's good.
Well, they were both A's, and they were both in the same era, but they might not have overlapped. Rich Harden, you know, was pitched few and far between.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Herron just retired. He had a couple of seasons where he was out as well. Okay, Danny, well, that's it for baseball talk. We're going to keep you on the line because we're going to do our NFL picks next.
Well, we can also talk about how morally reprehensible it is for the A's to trade for Aroldis Chapman, but I feel like we don't even need to say that at this point.
I mean, you're allowed to have the players you want. There's been no political action. There's been no actual police action yet. The investigation hasn't come out with anything, so we don't know anything yet. He'll probably get at least a little suspended, but I don't think it's going to affect the Yankees season at all.
Yeah.
Okay, our second sponsorship break, because this segment, NFL Picks, is brought to you by Woodstock's Pizza. 7 Woodstock's locations across California, all with the NFL Sunday ticket. This is your spot to watch NFL playoffs. Joaquin, you're going to have to watch them after the games that you like to watch, which is the English Premier League.
Well, can Woodstock's open early so I can watch some soccer? Eat some breakfast pizza?
I will let you in. I will make you a breakfast pizza.
Isn't that a quiche? I don't know.
It's kind of a quiche. Yeah, it depends on. Yeah, it's the egg and the crust. Yeah, it's a quiche.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to you. Woodstock's is in San Diego, San Luis Obispo, Isla Vista, Davis, Chico, and right here where we sit in Santa Cruz. It's a great place. Lots of beers on tap. They're very hip, very trendy beer selections. The Buku IPA from Mother Earth Brewing right now is my go-to. We also have a local brew, O Black Lager from Discretion, which is also very delicious. I had some of that last night after my shift. So go to Woodstock's Pizza, watch sports. I'll be there. Not at all 7 of them, but I'll be at one of them, watching my beloved sports. Okay, NFL picks time. I had a fantastic week, as did Daniel Zarchi. Don't tell me otherwise, Tory. Oh, you're not on. I have to turn on her microphone if she's going to tell me how wonderful I did.
You and Danny both went 4-2. Not bad.
You know what? That half-point loss on Monday night.
Yeah, that was painful.
Oh, man. The Broncos.
Felt good for me.
Oh, because you had the Bengals. Yeah, whatever. You and A.J. McCarron can be very happy together. Good luck kicking Catherine Webb out of bed. What? Whatever. I know her name. How did you do, Tori?
I went 3-3, which still isn't too bad.
So you're still ahead of us.
Yeah, I'm ahead of you guys by 1 win right now.
Joaquin's still leading in win percentage because he does this thing where he doesn't show up at all.
Hey. He's taken the easy way out. He got a really good percentage that none of us will ever be able to make at this point, and he's just going to coast.
Busy with work and family commitments.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel.
Has to go see Star Wars with his whole family.
Yeah.
Danny, can you start inventing Jewish holidays so you can get out of making your picks?
Well, luckily, I don't have to. I'm pretty sure my people have enough.
There's probably one happening right now.
Danny asked off for Oshkosh B'koshka, and I believed him. I believed him. I didn't know. I had to look it up, and then I found out it wasn't true. So I'm going to set us up for these games. There's one game we have to pick because the NFL does this really cool thing where most of the games that matter are at the same time. There's no Thursday night game, so no team gets extra rest. There's no Monday night game, so no team gets less rest. So all the games are on Sunday. The only primetime game is Sunday night. Green Bay at home. laying 3.5 points to Minnesota. The division is on the line. Winner hosts a playoff game next week, most likely against the other team. Danny.
I took the Packers.
You don't sound very happy about that, Danny.
I don't. Yeah.
He's still recovering from Oshkosh B'koshka. It's a party.
No, it was a barn burner.
It was a barn burner.
I don't know. I don't like it either way, but if you the team that wins this has significantly better path going forward than the team that loses.
Very good analysis. Yes, you are killing this analysis, Danny.
I think Rodgers at home is going to figure something out. You have to keep giving him credit, as awful as he looked last week.
Okay, Joaquin, ruin your percentage.
I'm taking the Vikings.
Okay.
I'm taking the Vikings because I don't like it either way, just like Danny. But I like in that situation, I like the points.
Okay, Tory.
I'm taking the Hot Wheels Living Donut Club because winning at Lambeau and taking
Vikings.
the number 3 seed from the Packers, those sweet Packers tears sound delicious.
The Hot Wheels Loving Donut Club.
You don't
sounds
remember
like a
the
group of
Minnesota
I
Vikings
do, but it sounds like a
Donut
group
Club?
of 4-year-olds that are hanging out, after school or after
Well, I mean,
preschool.
they go to the Donut Club and they start trading Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Genius.
So I have a question here. I'm staring at the standings and I'm having a hard time reading this. The winner will probably face the Seahawks, and the loser will probably face the Jabronis, right?
It's hard to tell. I thought they were going to.
It depends on one other game, I think.
Yeah, I thought if Seattle won, then Green Bay would play Minnesota, or vice versa, depending on who would be the home team.
Are you giving away one of your future picks, Thomas?
No, not at all.
Well, whoever wins this game will be 11-5, which will be the 3 seed.
So then the 3 seed plays the 6,
which is
Right,
Seattle
and
if Seattle loses.
And
Right.
And who else? Or Minnesota?
Well, Seattle holds the tiebreaker over either Green Bay or Minnesota.
Yeah,
right,
so the winner's the 3, and then the loser. Yeah, so they're going to play each other.
So the winner's the 3, and the loser's the 6. Oh, so they are immediately going to play.
Yeah,
each
they
other.
play each other. Okay, see, this is my show. I'm wrong sometimes. I'll admit it. I'm going to take the Packers at home. I have absolutely just as poor feelings.
If the Seahawks win, if they lose,
Right.
then right.
Okay, I have just as poor a feeling as everybody else does. The temperature's 29 degrees. I kind of lean towards the Vikings because they run and run and run. But the Lambeau mystique and Aaron Rodgers are enough for me. Bridgewater does not have the experience. I know that's a bad thing to say because we've seen young quarterbacks do a lot of interesting things in the league. Yeah, he has experience, but he doesn't touch the ball on every play. So I'm going to take Green Bay minus 3.5. Now, with no other primetime games, we all have 4 wild cards to pick. So no excuses when your picks are bad, Joaquin.
Okay.
Complaining about having to pick these stupid games.
Hey, look at my Thursday win percentage.
It's
terrible.
It is.
I'm like 1-11.
You'd be like over 65, 70% if not for the Thursday night games. But
Yep.
No excuses this week. So I'm going to go through a few games that have implications and things to talk about. The Panthers have lost. Are you taking it personally, Joaquin?
No, you got to do things for the children sometimes. You got to let them appreciate what success means.
Yeah, sometimes success means failing and then succeeding again.
Exactly. And they have to know failure to appreciate success.
They're favored by 10.5 at home against Tampa Bay. They need to win to hang on to home field advantage against Arizona. Arizona actually the clear Vegas favorite to reach the Super Bowl from the NFC. So this is big for them. Arizona wins, Panthers lose, Arizona gets the home field in the NFC Championship game. So I'm going to take Carolina on the rebound because they just want it so much more. Tori?
Also taking Carolina. But win or lose, after Sunday, we can still say that the Bucs have improved.
Well, we started from the bottom, now we're here, Tampa Bay. Either of you picked this game, boys?
I like Carolina to win, but I didn't pick it.
Danny?
No.
Danny, I talked about this with Joaquin. Did you see that 7-yard run by Cam Newton against the Falcons?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, man. I thought it was the most impressive 7-yard run since Barry Sanders. It took 7 Falcons to take him down.
Did you see the first down that Cam ran for when there were 15 defenders on the field?
Is that the same one? I think that might be the same run.
No, they were swapping out, so it wasn't real, but it was something SB Nation made a fun gif about where, even cheating, the Falcons couldn't stop Cam Newton from getting the first down.
Sounds about right. They did stop him in the game, though. Okay, Chip Kelly fired after 3 seasons with the Eagles. Any good memories, bad memories? What do you got, Joaquin?
I'm impressed by how many Pro Bowlers he could trade in under 4 years.
Do you think he set a record? Is that a record?
Oh, yeah.
Danny, your favorite Chip Kelly memory?
Let's see. Possibly trading for Sam Bradford and giving him a long extension to
That's
play
a good one.
professional football.
That's a good one. I like the DeMarco Murray acquisition. Or actually, I mostly like the fact that he acquired Ryan Matthews and kept going, even though Matthews became the best back on the team.
I just think it's really big of the Eagles to fire Chip Kelly so soon after Christmas, just to brighten up the holiday mood in Philadelphia.
They love the holidays. They viciously booed Santa Claus on multiple occasions.
They cheered the firing of Chip Kelly. I'm just saying, bring in a little Christmas cheer, the way only Philly knows how.
Philly
My
killed
favorite-
that hitchhiking robot. It was this robot that a college made, and it's like hitchhiked all the way across Canada, did all of these things, and basically the robot gets picked up, they take it along, they drop it off on the side of the road. It made it all the way to Philly when it was backpacking across the U.S. and immediately got destroyed. That's Philadelphia in a nutshell.
Oh, that's a great story. I know we should have Chip Kelly hitchhike across Philadelphia, see how far he gets.
Oh, God.
Anyone pick that game?
Yeah, I picked the Eagles.
Yeah, I did.
You all picked the Eagles?
Oh, I took the Giants.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even know what the Eagles are, so I'm just going to do like I've done all my life and pick the Giants and hope for the best.
Okay.
Eagles plus 3.5 because they're going to stick it to their former coach.
Okay, they're going to get that one-game bump. Danny, you agree?
I took the Eagles. I think new coach bump against old coach bump.
I didn't even look who is the new coach.
And
I guarantee
just don't think the Giants have anything left.
Certainly Tom Coughlin doesn't.
I mean,
My favorite reaction to the Chip Kelly signing was from David Boreanaz, or Angel.
David Boreanaz.
Boreanaz?
Yeah.
Ding dong, the chip is dead, the wicked chip. Ding dong, the wicked chip is dead. Gone, see ya. Eagles make the best move of the season. # boom.
I want to look up # boom. I think it might be good and bad. Next game, back in October. I read this today. Back in October, the Dolphins brought in extra staff to ensure Patriots employees would not handle their equipment. And no, that's not a sexual reference. The Pats will actually touch your stuff if you bring it near them. VP of Football Operations Mike Tannenbaum was the GM of the Jets during Spygate in 07. He's particularly sensitive. Some quick Googling, and the T-Bomb found 5 players and or coaches of teams that have directed shots at the Pats interfering with headsets. Do you think this was the good move by the Dolphins?
Yes.
Whatever.
Sure.
You guys don't care about this stuff?
Not particularly. I mean, New England cheats, they cheat. Whatever.
They burnt you out on their cheating?
Opposing
Yes.
teams constantly complain of their headsets going out or being given faulty equipment by the Pats.
Yeah.
It's just one other way for the Pats to mentally screw with you.
And the best part is not only does the equipment go out, it picks up the Pats radio broadcast in their ear. So they're hearing like the hometown radio dudes doing the Pats game in their head.
And it's always during clutch moments. Just the radios mysteriously go out.
Joaquin doesn't care.
I think what the Dolphins should have done is not do anything, and then that way they could complain about it when they lose horribly.
Okay. Well, they're getting 11 in this game. Does anyone want the revenge of the Dolphins?
I almost took it, but I didn't.
Danny, did they
Did
make this
not.
line high enough?
They did. They did.
Oh, man, they made this line high enough. That's no fun. Okay, now we're gonna get to some games that matter in descending order of how much they matter. There's a 2-team race for a wild card spot in the AFC. The Jets are laying 3 against the Bills. They control their own destiny, win, and they're in over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 11 against Cleveland. They need help from Buffalo. Danny, do you have any of these games?
I took the Jets and I took the Steelers.
Oh, you took them both
Yeah.
because of the urgency.
Yeah, I think both teams want to win. Both opponents do not, or don't much care, and the lines look good. And the Browns would rather discipline Johnny for drinking a Four Loko over Christmas than actually try to win a football game,
It's
except
Christmas.
against the Niners.
Give the kid a
Really?
hot toddy or something. Just at least make it classy.
Well, and luckily the Browns didn't need to actually try to win to beat the Niners, but they're not trying to win.
Well, the big question is, was it an original formula for Wilco? Maybe it was a gift. Maybe someone had been saving this for Wilco for years,
Well,
just for Johnny Football.
How old was Manziel when the original Four Loko stopped
12?
being produced? Like, how long did he have to stockpile them before he could be drinking
I'm
them
just
now?
saying one of his homies. They gave it to him as a present. I actually took the Bills plus 3.
Okay. Do you have the Jets out of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Oh.
I just like the Rex revenge.
Yeah, and he's actually the news came out today. He's gonna be around for next season.
Rex Ryan revenge game in Buffalo. Give me that.
Rex is the only person in Buffalo who cares about this game.
No, every single citizen of Buffalo cares about this game. Buffalo is so committed to loving the Bills.
This is all
unreal.
they have. The Bills and the Sabres are all they have that separates them from Canada.
It's like the Kings. When it's all you've got, you stick to them.
Trailblazers, same thing. Those Portland fans are
Portland soccer
nuts.
moms.
The Portland soccer moms. Well, I guess they have an actual soccer team now too.
So
I mean, the Ducks are kind of in LA.
Oh, come on.
different Kings.
Oh no, she's talking about the Sacramento Kings.
That makes a little more sense. But what about the River Cats? The River Cats are probably the best team in Sacramento.
Yeah,
That's pretty sad.
But they don't get a TV time.
I just realized I didn't make 3 picks. I forgot to pick the game, so we're going to have fun with this as we go along. I'm going to go ahead and take Pittsburgh -11 against Cleveland for my second pick, and let's move on.
I also took Pittsburgh.
Oh, you took Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was waiting for a moment. Yeah, you do that a lot.
Wow, that's personal. So we've got Pittsburgh, you've got the Jets, you've got the Bills. Okay, we got some high-stakes games going on here. That's awesome. Another high-stakes game, Arizona -6.5 over Seattle. Both these teams jockeying for playoff seeding. Danny, do you have thoughts on this? Is Arizona the clear favorite in the NFC?
I think Arizona is a significantly better team than the Seahawks, and I think they win this game easily, but I did not pick them to cover.
Anybody? Any thoughts?
I'm taking Seattle.
You're doing it?
Yeah, taking more points.
Are they at home? I think they're at home.
No,
they're in Arizona.
It's in Arizona.
That's
but,
not too far from home.
But let's just think if the Panthers are winning handily, how hard does Arizona try in the second half?
Yeah, how much scoreboard watching is going on? Because you used to be able to game it a little bit more.
Right.
They've already, if I remember right, Arizona's already complained because they moved the Carolina game to later, so the Cardinals have to play hard no matter what because they won't know the outcome of the Panthers game until after it's over.
At halftime, they'll know what's happening over there. I just like that. I just like that little bit of variability. It pushes me towards taking the points with Seattle.
Okay. Anyone else pick this game, Tori?
Nope.
I'm going to stay away from it as well. The Kansas City Chiefs, who've won 9 straight, somehow trying to hang on to the 5 seed. They're giving 7 against Oakland in Kansas City. Joaquin, are the Chiefs a Super Bowl contender?
No, but give me the Chiefs in this game.
Beating the Raiders does not a Super Bowl contender make?
No, not at all.
Tori, Danny, any pick in this game?
No pick, but the Raiders are playing better on the road this year than at home. And, you've got Arrowhead, but I'm not sure the Chiefs cover. That's why I didn't pick it.
All right. Denver -9 over San Diego. They're playing for a first-round bye. They win, and they get to skip the first round. Peyton Manning, we did not talk about this. HG to the H. Anyone, does this move your needle? Is everyone just, the media defends him so hard that we don't even care anymore?
Well, he's probably going to play in this game, right? Because Osweiler is hurt.
Osweiler's going to start. Peyton Manning's been cleared to be the backup, and I actually think he is going to get into this game at some point because Osweiler is pretty banged up. It's multiple injuries. He's having a bit of a young man's Hasselbeck. Joaquin, do you have thoughts on Manning being a backup or even anything about the HGH case?
I just, I wonder what does it matter? He did it, or he's accused of having taken HGH when trying to come back from injury, right?
Right, it's the deer antler spray thing all over again.
Yeah, does this move the needle more than people returning from a torn bicep or a torn tricep or a torn pectoral muscle in under a month?
Well, for Ray Lewis, it's, that was just the secondary thing to did he stomp that guy to death? So, things
was
hanging
he an
over
accessory?
Ray Lewis, it doesn't matter.
Stabbed, not stomped.
It doesn't matter. The man died. The suit was covered in blood. No one's ever seen the white suit. We don't need to get into that.
But in terms of how football players miraculously, whatever, come back from injury, how they come back from injury much faster than is seemingly humanly possible. Why does one person being accused of taking HGH move the needle compared to the whole league coming back from injuries 2-3 months before they should?
I mean, there are other players that were reported in this Al Jazeera report, Clay Matthews, Julius Peppers, a couple of baseball players that Danny and I can talk about on our much more boring podcast. But I just think it being in his wife's name, and it just seems like a cover-up. Unless she, for some reason, needed a human growth hormone. I've never met the lady, but...
Trying to get swole.
I guess nobody cares. I thought this was going to be a much bigger thing. I mean, we did Deflategate for how long?
I mean, it's going to be talked about forever in the media.
But it's already kind of disappeared.
Maybe we're preemptively not caring because we're preemptively jaded by how much coverage this is going to get.
Yeah, I think.
And we're preemptively jaded, or preemptively just don't care because Peyton Manning is not really a factor anymore.
Wow.
If he were significantly better than Osweiler and the Broncos' playoff chances, hinged directly on how well Peyton Manning was playing, then it would be a much bigger factor. But right now, it's, most people in Denver, I think, are secretly hoping that Osweiler comes back and Peyton, fades into obscurity.
Okay. Our last really
It's hard because he's Thomas's favorite player of all time.
I know. It's so disappointing. Our last semi-relevant game, Bengals over Ravens. Bengals also giving 9 since he can get a first-round bye if Denver loses to San Diego. Anyone care about A.J. McCarron? I don't. I can't A.J. McCarron any more than I already do. Texans over Jaguars. They can clinch the division. -6. Joaquin's face looks like he just ate 7 lemons.
How much? If I could have bet at the beginning of the year that the Texans would not have a 6-point advantage over any team at any point this year, I would have taken that 10 times out of 10.
That's why I'm taking the Jaguars in this one. I'm making this my pick. Is this the last one I need, Tori?
No, you still have one other one. I took Houston.
You took Houston.
Yeah, Houston finally got it together. They aren't terrible. I mean, they're still mediocre, but hey, not terrible.
All right. Is that the end of your picks?
Yeah. We still need one from you and one from Danny.
Danny.
I took the Jabronis plus 3.5 against the Cowboys.
Go Jabs.
They can't gain anything in this game.
I know, but you're going to bet on Kellen Less?
Who?
Kellen Moore? Whatever his name is. Sorry, that's my dad joke for the day.
Okay. I had mine already, so it's okay.
3.5 points might be more than the Cowboys score in this game total, so...
Okay, well, those are all of our picks. We'll see how we do. Danny, we're going to let you go.
One from you.
Oh, I need one more?
You have Panthers, Jacks, and Pittsburgh.
Give me the Cowboys so I can go against Danny. I'll take the boys.
How about them boys?
We them boys.
Them boys.
All right, Danny, thank you for coming on. Once again, subscribe to Giants Pod. Danny and I are going to be doing more episodes. Have fun being a lawyer, Danny.
Thank you.
We'll see you later, buddy.
What happened to 2 guys, a glove, and a Coke bottle?
It's too long of a name.
It's a perfect name.
It's still technically called that.
I love it.
Giants Pod is so much easier to
2
look
guys, a glove, and a Coke bottle.
But what do they do with the Coke bottle?
It's just a wonderful reference to a show no one cared about.
I know. We did the show for 2.5 years before Danny even knew what it was a reference to.
Baby Ryan Reynolds.
Baby Ryan Reynolds. Okay, Tori, you've got some topics, but I wanted to start with a conversation.
Yeah, I hear you have a topic for us.
With an idiot at work.
Okay.
He was trying to. He was asking me if I watched the Animatrix, and I said no.
I've seen it.
I don't watch cartoons.
Okay.
I'm an adult.
He's like, a pretentious adult.
He said, well, have you seen The Matrix? I said, yeah, of course. It's an okay movie. He's like, an okay movie? Like, he was like, telling me how it was a great movie. And I was like, well, why is it a great movie? He's like, the part where they realize they're just in a computer simulation and that they can upload stuff and do whatever they want. And I was like, Space Jam already did it. I shut that kid down so hard.
The part when Jordan realizes he's in a cartoon
I was
and
like,
he
how
can do
is that
whatever he wants.
any different than Neo and what's her name, Carrie Ann Moss, figuring out they can do karate? It was way better to watch Michael Jordan stretch his arm for that dunk.
Okay, the first, I love Space Jam.
We all
and
love
I will
Space
always
Jam.
love Space Jam. And that 4.5-minute Jordan highlight reel at the beginning of Space Jam will be something I watch probably about semi-annually for the rest of my life.
Okay, better than The Matrix.
The Matrix is a better movie.
Bill Murray's not in The Matrix. Larry Bird is not in The Matrix. Muggsy Bogues is not in The Matrix.
Larry Fishburne's in The Matrix.
He's also in Space Jam, right?
Yeah, Joe Pantoliano's in The Matrix.
I think Larry Fishburne's one of the Monstars bench players.
Oh, gosh. No, it's just his cheeks. The Matrix is a movie that's more significant in terms of, like, filmmaking technique and where it pushed action movies to go, and that scene where the helicopter hits the side of the building and you see the ripple effect that they use on the glass is amazing.
All right.
There's a lot of action scenes in that movie that will stand the test of time.
I just enjoyed shutting someone down with Space Jam.
Oh, I love that. But my 15-year-old niece recently watched The Matrix, and she wasn't blown away nearly to the extent that I was or her dad was when we first saw it, because, movies do that now.
You can just watch, like, White House Down, and
but
it's just the same thing.
But it used to be a thing that movies never did bullet time. Nothing did bullet time before The Matrix.
Except for bullets.
Well, nothing was displayed as though bullets were moving
Cleanthony
at
Early
the speed
does bullet time.
at the speed of regular.
That is uncalled for.
Plaxico Burress does bullet
He
time.
does. Tori, spit through some topics. You did some work.
So, Hornacek,
Jeff
whatever,
Hornacek.
criticized Vidova for provoking officials into calling an offensive foul on Tyson Chandler, except Deli was on the bench. Deli's response is perfect. I mean, I guess me and Shump look pretty similar.
Deli's so scrappy, he gets accused of things he doesn't even do.
Of course.
And that's amazing. I'm sure
That's wonderful. I'm sure Bogut's faced the same fate.
Steven Adams.
We can only hope that Ben Simmons will carry on this grand tradition of Australians being dirty players.
Or Dante Exum.
Oh.
Evan Turner on the ovation Kobe will get in Boston tonight. People will say it's for Kobe, but deep down it's probably for me.
Oh my God! Do you know his nickname?
The logo?
The villain.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Titus calls him the villain. He played with him in Ohio State. Says he's just an awful guy.
I mean, he could have been awful as a college student, but people change, and he's been hilarious this year.
Oh man.
Marshawn Lynch gets the trademark to the phrase, "I'm just here so I won't get fined."
That's awesome.
You need a
Beast
trademark
mode
for that? Rasheed Wallace is somewhere mad he's not getting paid for that.
Rasheed Wallace needs to trademark both teams played hard, my man. And Anthony Davis trademarked the brow. He insured his unibrow, the way that models insure their legs.
Or J-Lo insures her butt.
Yes.
Oh man.